Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of MomBoss Maximizer. This is your host, Brittany Burnham, and I am here by myself today, and we are going to be talking about a really important word that everyone gets a negative connotation about, a negative perception, and that's about failure. And I'm going to talk about it in such a positive light because I've experienced so much failure. I've witnessed so much failure with my friends, my family, my colleagues, and just recently, my daughter. So one of the best things that you can remember to yourself right now is that failure is feedback. And another way of remembering this too is to fail forward. I am slightly obsessed with Denzel Washington. He's my favorite actor. And when I need some motivation, some encouragement, every so often I go back to one of his famous speeches that he was delivering an address to a graduating class. And he was talking about falling forward. And this idea and perception, how everyone talks about, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to fall back on if you don't get into this program? What are you going to fall back on if you don't succeed in your career? Or if that business that you worked on for so long didn't work out? What are you going to fall back on? And to hear that, and to say, like, what are you going to fall back? But instead of falling back, we're going to fall forward. We're going to fail forward and not look at it in the lens of a negative mindset. We're shifting the mindset. That's why I'm here. It is all about mindset. And if I can act on what I'm saying, then that's what I want for you too. So let's first talk about failure. Failure is inevitable. If you don't fail, then what is their point in terms of growing? Like, failure is growth. It is a learning lesson depending on what you're experiencing. Just this past weekend, we had Bria's basketball tournament, her championship tournament, and we've been undefeated the whole season. I'm the assistant coach, and I've been loving taking a step back and being on the bench and just watching, assisting, mentoring, and guiding, and not being the person completely in charge. Our head coach is Aaron Panetta, who's a local basketball legend. So, and to kind of go back a little bit with this, I was so hesitant to coach because of my time and my responsibilities, and also for it to potentially, I'm not sure how Bria would like me coaching her. And in the beginning of the season, I asked her, but it was one of those things that we could have put her on the 5th grade team. She's in 4th grade, and she was well capable of moving up as she played up last year. Or do we want to keep her down and learn more about leadership and develop more confidence and see that growth in a way where she would be the one dominating every single game? And that happened throughout the whole season. This is a long season. It's almost 6 months. So long story short, undefeated season. She's been killing it. And what do you know? The championship game against Saratoga, they're out to get us. Everyone wanted to get us. We were the only woman duo coaches in the whole of all 16 teams in the 4th grade league. So, and it's funny, like I'm talking about like 4th grade, but that's when it all starts. That's when the foundation happens. I was in 4th grade when I started playing, and we won states when I was in high school. So it does start at such a young age, and it's all about the mindset and these experiences. So why I'm talking about this is because we didn't win. This was our team's first experience of losing and failing. And at halftime, we were only down 5 points. And you could see on their faces how nervous and scared and the fear that they were feeling. One started crying. The other one started crying. It was a domino effect. I've never seen anything like it. And the coach and I were like, stop, wait, what? And you just know it's contagious, right? So this is a perfect example at such a young age why I'm so glad that they experienced this type of loss and failure, because it's only going to develop more resilience, and they're always going to remember this moment. I'm telling you, from halftime, moving on, we couldn't come back from it. it was all over their faces. They were crying on the court. They didn't experience the whole point of the season, they were never down. They didn't know what it was like to get motivated, to encourage each other. I was waiting for maybe Bria to like, let's go guys, let's step up and give those words of encouragement. But she was overtaken by all those emotions. It just got the best of them. So when we're talking about failure, it is a learning lesson. Think about, like, you hear all the Michael Jordans and you hear about the Bill Gates and how they failed so much at every single process and aspect of what they are trying to achieve. And then they appreciate and embrace that experience. I want to get a little bit of some failures that it's just in the past couple months and past year that I've experienced that have led to, it has been the catalyst to my growth. So this feedback as failure is the message of what you need, of what I need, of what you need in order to take on to that next level, to look at that the potential of what you can do, not what you didn't do. This past year and a half with Power, we shifted our mindset and shifted some methodologies on who we are and how we want to serve and what we represent. Our mission has never changed. Our vision hasn't changed. Our systems changed a little bit. And we tried and tried as many different ways and took our mentorship, and what we weren't seeing was the wins and the success in the numbers with the business. What we also saw with the numbers, so what we also saw, but was the success of the clients, the success of the coaches. So, for example, when our coaches were being fulfilled in their wisdom and their education and financially fulfilled, and when our clients were being fulfilled in what they need, we were serving their needs, but the business was going down in numbers. So there was a disconnect. Something wasn't aligned. What needed to be changed? And always in my mindset, when I feel like I give up on something, that's failing, I fear failure. Everyone feels failure. But instead of looking at it as a loss, we gained so much from it. We learned, well, we can take parts of this, what we took from our mentorship, we can take parts of this to help and support our coaches financially and in a mental aspect. But what we need for the business, for the growth and sustainability of the business, is another way of adapting to what we used to. So now we're learning to blend all of it. So instead of looking as we failed in what we intended on doing and creating for the business, we're taking those little things and we're going to blend it all together. So when failure is, a lot of us can look at failure as a means of, I'm not good enough, we're not good enough, and instead shift that mindset to what was good. How did you change? What did you take from it? What were the positives that you gained during that time? When you're in this transition, when you're in this identity shift from last episode, when you're in any type of new season, there's always gonna be some type of failures or learning lessons. And we have to take that and really try to figure out, like, who is the person I'm becoming? And how do I want to impact and influence others in these type of decisions? So I'll give you another example. When we're overcoming the fear of failure, how can you ask yourself, what am I going to do next? How am I going to shift my mindset into helping others with this type of failure? What can I do differently? How can I impact others with what I learned just now and influence them with this mindset shift? So, for example, another failure, if we want to call it failure, that I received in the past year was my small group coaching, Unfiltered Freedom. I felt some unalignment and some decisions that I had to make would have been really hard, that I knew that I needed to go to the next step. Some things have been holding me back. And I wanted so badly to be in this partnership. And I gave it my all. I gave my heart. I gave my time. I dedicated more time to this type of small group coaching and put some other things in the back burner because of my passion. So I had no intention of failing or giving up. So instead, I had to make some hard decisions because I knew that I wanted more for myself. And I looked at this experience and said, what I took from it is the partnerships and the relationships and the wisdom and the experience of what can I do after learning from all this and what I don't want to do, what I don't want for my future. So instead of looking at this experience in the past almost year of building out unfiltered freedom and pausing it and stepping away from a partnership that no longer served me, I'm still taking all of the beautiful things that I learned from it. And that is the mindset that we have to give to ourselves and also to the people that we're leading and also to our children. And it was like just this past weekend was so emotional because all these feelings from the past year of my professional experience with power and with unfiltered freedom, and then seeing these 9 and 10-year-olds crying because they've never experienced this type of failure. All that hard work that they were going in and out of the gym 2 days a week, every single weekend, games at 9 a.m. on Saturdays. So all that work, it's the same thing that when you're experiencing this professionally, or when you're experiencing a relationship, what about your significant other? All that time and work and dedication and commitment that you're putting into your significant other or your friendships, instead of looking at it as a failure, look at it as a beautiful stepping stone, as a catalyst for growth, as a catalyst of who you want to be and where you want to go and what you can change about the next process of what you're putting yourself into, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a career, whether it be teaching your kids more about sports and school, failing a test. Oh my goodness. When we talk about failing a test, think about the pressure that gives so many kids. That was me. I look at my kids, they're so competitive, and if they don't get an A or 90 or above, they get so upset. And I don't want them to have that mindset because I remember how I was if I didn't get a 90 or above and that pressure. So the fact that we can, as parents, as educators, as friends, as sisters, as mothers, as leaders, as women, to be able to take all of these experiences from our life and to be able to teach and mentor and impact those around us, those in our circle, those who want to be led and inspired, and to be able to share those experiences and also just say that it's okay. It's a learning lesson. Failure is feedback. What is that feedback that you learned? What is that feedback that now that you want to take and that you want to give to somebody else? Who needs to hear this? So as much as it's hard, I am so grateful for all the failures I've had in my past. One of the best things I can say that I failed at was not getting the job at UAlbany when I was in this transition from leaving Albany leadership when I was an educator to going to the hospital and becoming an ultrasound tech. So I failed 2 major things during that time within 6 months. I didn't get the job at UAlbany, and that was a very high job in the athletic department. And then look what happened. I Hit It with Brit. In that same 6 months, I didn't get into the imaging program at Hudson Valley. I was on the waiting list. I didn't fail, but it was a message to what can I do next? What's plan B, C, D, E, F, G? So this is the message that you have to take when you're failing is when one door closes, another door opens. And I know we hear all these cliche sayings, but this is the mindset that we have to practice. It takes practice, it takes persistence, it takes confidence, it takes a strong mindset to be able to shift that and also then to give it, because that's what we're here for. We're not here to just keep everything in and just say and not share what we've experienced. But that's life. This is one of my favorite things about this podcast, is to be able to share, yes, my own wisdom and my experiences, but also my favorite thing of anything is to bring other guests on here and share their stories and share all about their resilience and their failures. Look what happened to Gina Tronco when she went on here. How she failed, how she felt like she failed in her relationship. And look where she's at now, writing a book, overcoming cancer. Look at, Lauren Mullen, who was on here, who was a Division I basketball coach, and feeling she didn't get the job, but she supported her wife, and now she started her own business. So all of these little experiences become much bigger things. And it's all about how you perceive it and how you're going to take it and run with it. So I hope this gave you a little bit of motivation, a little bit of encouragement, because when I'm trying to think of topics and just anything I want to really just give, if I'm in the shower, I'm just like, it's really like just at the moment. And this past weekend, when this happened at Bria's tournament, and then just what's been happening professionally between Unfiltered Freedom, between Power, and then and mentorship and new programs and things coming up, it's just like it's all aligned. And what I've been experiencing is this new alignment and finally a feeling of freedom to who I want to be, and that authenticity of, okay, I'm ready to step into my power because I'm confident in that power. I'm confident in all of my failures, and I want that for you too. So please share this. Thank you to everyone who has been, listening and supporting. And if you can subscribe, share this, and even tell me anything about your experience, I would love to hear it. Until next time, maximize your mom boss potential.